congratulations. You must be, I mean, it must be an amazing. Last week, the film came out in Russia. Tomorrow in the USA. You must be really, really happy about that now.
Yeah, I'm very happy about it, because our premiere was obviously in France 6 weeks ago, and we were like, very tense about it because it was like the reopening of the movie theaters in France, and we were very lucky with the numbers. So it's kind of great continuing adventure with Russia and now the USA tomorrow. So
yeah, I mean, was it always your intention? I mean, there's different languages in there. There's a bit of English, but most of it French, but it's not a lot of dialogue. But it mixes dialogue. Was that always something you were thinking about when you were writing the script and the film, with the intention? I mean, obviously you wanted to take it to festivals first, I imagine. But do you write in the languages thinking about what kind of audience you will get eventually?
To be honest, it's more a question about how to get the budget in France. If I could, I would have done it, in full English, because I know that, like my first feature film, because when you do that, you can, do more festivals and expand the exploitation of the film in many countries, because English is kind of the universal language, especially for movies, But, in France, we have strong TV participation in movies, and the condition is that you have to shot half of the movie or all the movie, but the minimum is half of the movie in French. Yeah, at least half. So we were like, okay, how to do that? And obviously, if we shoot that in English, the sales agency will give much money. So it was kind of complicated, but because it was, we could do that in the script with Peter Franzen and have some organic, logical situation about the language. But it's also something I love, because I've done a short film called Broken, and it was about an American and a French woman, and they don't speak the same language at all, but they try to understand, and I love to play on languages. So
I really enjoy it. I don't know. I mean, I just recently also watched another film that's out on Netflix next week. Classic Horror Story, I think it's called, and it mixes languages as well. And I really enjoy it. I mean, I live in Spain, so I enjoy watching different languages anyway. But it's good.
Yeah, they did that for Revenge also. Revenge, the movie by Coralie Farja. It was insidious. So yeah, it's kind of not usual, but it happens.
And what about? I mean, obviously, you mentioned your previous film, Hostile, which was also you seem to have this thing that you enjoy putting a single woman against the world. Now, what is it about doing that? Was there a specific reason? I know you spoke in interviews you did in France. You spoke about a lot of influence from Aliens, for example. Obviously, we've got Ripley there. I mean, was that kind of one of the reasons you like the strong female characters against the world?
I've grew up with that kind of characters, like in Terminator and like in Aliens and everything. But it's also always about the story, because for my first movie, it was about, I wanted to talk about a couple, and there is a twist, and the twist works if it's a point of view from a woman. Because if it was at the origin, it was the opposite. It was a man, and the creature was supposed to be something. And then I was like, I want to talk about couple, and I was like, if it's a woman, the creature is going to be weird, because I have to. How can I do that? It has to get some dates, and it's going to be weird. So I was like writing and say, oh, let's do the opposite, and I was like, oh, this is better because I can play with a lot of stuff, and about the fact that she doesn't want to have that man coming in the relationship, like the creature wants to go inside the cast, and it became logical. And for Meander, it was kind of the same idea, because I wanted to talk about a mother, like you said, in inspiration. The main one is from Aliens, with Ripley and Newt, and I wanted to talk about that, and about the fact that it's also about rebirth. So you have that kind of tube. It could be life after death, or the light at the end of the tunnel, but it could also be how to rebirth in a way. So I was like, okay, let's do that from a woman point of view. But actually, you're right about it. But my next movie is the opposite. It's a bunch of guys.
But I wish the best of luck to the guy, because I mean, Gaia must have gone through hell. I mean, I know it's just a film, but just going through the things that you created, she must have gone through sheer hell, no?
Kind of crazy because she came very late in the process because we had to change the main actress at the last minute, maybe 10 days before the shoot. And when we that happens sometimes. And when we talked with Gaia, I was like, okay, I'm very happy you're doing the movie, I love what you do, but let's be realistic, we had to postpone the film. And she said, if it's possible, I can do it in 10 days. Because I want to use that non-preparation to my character, you know. She said that she was well known for Vikings, and in Vikings she already a warrior, and she doesn't want to have that in every movie. So she was like, if I can discover some sets during, like my character, you know, during the journey, that could help me, and that could be very interesting, even if it's more work because you have to prepare and to shoot at the same time, because she was always preparing for what's coming next, and we shot in chronological order, so it was easier for that. But yeah, it was very brave to do that, and she did that. And if she hasn't, we would be shooting supposedly in March, and it was the lockdown. So so you know, she doesn't know it, but she saved the movie.
Oh wow! I mean, and tell me a little bit about the set, because I mean, I don't know how much it all looks physically there, no? I don't know if it's you repeated the same set and kind of switched things around a little bit. I know in Cube, for example, the film Cube, they used, I think they just used one room and they just switched it around for each different room. Was it the same kind of idea with yours, or was it, did you, I mean, obviously it changes, it goes from clinical to more of a kind of organic, I don't want to give too much away, organic set towards the end. But I mean, the first bit, for example, was that very much different places, or did you rearrange things as much as possible?
So that what the producer thought. They were like, it's going to be cheap because we're going to use again and again the same. But it was not the case for one reason. It's because every trap had a lot of, because like you said, everything is practical. Even the fire, we put real fire in the tube. It was obviously the last day of shooting, but we burned everything, and it was kind of cathartic, and it was good. Yeah, but we built everything, so you have a lot of stuff outside of the tube. You know, when you have that acid stuff coming like this, obviously you have that outside. All the tubes are 1 meter from the ground because you won't shoot like this, so everything is like up, and you have the light, so it's big sets, and we couldn't use again and again the same spot. We did it for, you know, the little space, the white space coming, the safety room, the white one, just before the fire each time. So that was one, obviously that was one spot, and we used it, and the box at the beginning also. But we had, you know, maybe a 15 meters tube for the long shots, and after that we had a lot of sets, and we had a big studio, but it wasn't big enough. So each day we had to, at the end of the day, we had to say, okay, tomorrow, what are we going to shoot? Okay, let's put this and this and this, and then you had a set crew coming, and then just rearrange everything on set. In the morning we had some new sets, and we can, because we didn't postpone the movie. At the moment we lost the actress, everybody in the construction set was like, okay, we have time now, because obviously we were going to postpone. And then we were like, no, we don't have time. So I think the sets were built until week 3. So it was crazy because I was shooting, and then I was discovering some traps for the week after, you know. So it was kind of crazy.
You're gonna die. Were all the traps actually in the script, or did you have a team that kind of helps you to come up with them? They're very ingenious. They were different. I mean, the film has been compared to things like Saw and things like that, but these traps are very different. I mean, I don't mean this in a bad way, but I mean, it's like, it was almost like Super Mario, but taken to the extreme, you know, when things are going up and down like that. I mean, they're very simple, but at the same time, they're really,
Yeah.
really functional. They work really well.
I really wanted something that was my main goal. Simple because the traps, it's not Saw, and it's not made by and I love the Saw saga, but it's not made by a crazy man wanting to hurt. Even if I lead the audience on that path at the beginning, so I wanted something very organic, very simple, based on elements. So you have fire, you have water, you have some metal stuff. I wanted it to be really simple, but at the same time, and that's what I've learned, you have to get the best crew because they have great ideas. And I was like, you know, in the script there was the wires, with the blades, you know,
The barbed wire when she's crawling up, yes. Barbed wire, now the barbed wire.
Yeah, so it was just barbed wire in the script. And my production designer said, oh, I have an idea because you're talking about organic stuff and it became more and more organic. Let's do that with piece of bones and some flesh.
Yeah.
And this is the same idea, but more, you know, subtle and more sophisticated in a way, because it's more original, and it's exactly the same idea. So that's helped me a lot, you know, when
it works really
great
well.
ideas like this.
Yeah. And I mean, and on the same idea, the when she wakes up and she's got this outfit on, that was it looked like you really thought about that a lot, the designer, because it reminded me almost of The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That kind of, when he suddenly appears, it was that kind of thing came to mind. How did you come to create this? Because I mean, she's even got these specific gloves with things around her fingers. It's all very specific.
Well, we worked a lot with our costume designer. She was amazing. She just put some stuff like this, you know, with the gloves. She had that idea that the costume needed to go there because it's beautiful, but it's also practical, and a lot of stuff like that. And then she came with an idea, an evolution idea. She wanted the costume to change, and not change physically, but change because of the blood and all the stuff that she has on her. So at the beginning, she's really white, black and white, and a little of gray. But then it became more and more. The more she goes in the blood and all the stuff, the costume changes. And actually, we had three type of costumes. So we changed it a lot, and you can't see it, but some black pieces begin to be thinner and thinner, like she was evolving, and it was something we wanted that the audience won't see but will maybe feel, you know. And also the blood make the white completely disappear. So in the end, she's more like a warrior and like an animal, and the flesh in the script. And in the beginning of the process, we were like, that would be awesome if we could add some light in the costume, you know, some little stuff like this, and like a skin that comes out. Maybe you could have that coming, but it was over budget. So, but we kept
in the sequel.
Maybe, let's do that.
I mean, I've talked about Gaia having, it must have been very complicated for her to go through all these mazes and these tunnels, but obviously the cinematographer just as much, because he's doing the same as she is, but with a camera in their hand at the same time. That must have been really complicated for him as well, no?
Yeah, but you know, I thank him a lot, because we changed. We were supposed to use a classic camera, and he said at the last minute, I want to change. Everything was rent. He was like, I have an idea. Just discover a new camera system. So it was the Sony Venice, used on the Avatar sequel. Right. And they invented a system for Top Gun 2 to shoot in the cockpit. So it's called the Rialto system. So basically you have that big feature camera, cinema camera, you know, but you can split the first maybe you have, it's like that in the end. So you can split the camera in two pieces.
So it's like modules. It's got different modules.
Yeah, but it's linked because you need the body. So the body stay outside. Right. So that's what they did on Top Gun. You know, they just put the little part in the cockpit, and that's why they invented it. And then we took that little part, and this is with what we shot everything. So it's kind of tiny, so that's cool. And then we had to invent a lot of rigs. So it was kind of crazy because we invented something called, we called that the pizza oven, because it's like, it was a little cage with a lot of wheels. The camera is in it, the sound is on it. And then we had, that kind of tube like this. And like a pizza, were like this and had action. It was like this. And then you have that kind of crazy shot when she crawls to the camera, and then it's very long, and you can see that we are obviously it's not CG. Obviously, we are stuck in the tube with her, and she runs to the camera on a very long distance, and that was possible thanks to that kind of crazy invention by the crew.
Wow, brilliant. It works really well. So just to finish up then, and I think that just before you shot this film, you wanted to shoot another film, I think in France also, but because of logistics and I don't know, technology as well that you wanted to implement or something, you weren't able to do that. But I think that's what you're going to try and work on next. Is that right?
The next movie is crazy stuff, and it's kind of I can't tell exactly now what it is, but we just I finished the script, and it has been we are in casting now, but we're supposed to shoot next year, beginning of next year, maybe around March. And yeah, it's a crazy stuff because it's a period movie. It's about, it mixed some Lovecraft stuff with the decent style. It's set in France, and you're the first to know that, but I dream to do it on film and to shot it with film and in black and white. That would be the dream. Yeah, because it's kind of a weird, and I won't tell you why, but you will understand when the project will be announced. But this is some of a weird movie, and obviously that couldn't have been even not my first and even my second movie, because it's kind of weird stuff. And now that Meander has worked well in France, it helped a lot to do the next. But I have other projects, some medieval stuff, and I can't wait to announce everything. But you know how it is. You announce stuff, and then they don't.
You know what happens, and hopefully that's you're going to be able to get to hurt a male character instead of a female character this time, no?
Yeah, next trip is a lot of men. There are 7, so it's gonna be great. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for your time. I wish you the best of luck with the film when it comes out tomorrow in the States, and enjoy yourself as part of the jury over there.
Thank you. I finally watch movies.